I can keep hollering and keep making noise and keep saying this is what I'd like to do, but in our current governance structure, I'm one of 9 votes, and the way our governance structure is set up is really the city manager's call. Again, if we had a different governance structure, I can assure you that the chief would not be going to Seattle today.
How can you assure that?
I'd sit down with him, I'd ask him what are the priorities, what does he need to have from a city, what can we do to keep him here, and I believe that he'd say, you know, X, Y, and Z, then I'd make it happen.
Do you think the city manager has not done that?
I think the city manager has sat down with him, but again, it's not my place to say what he should or shouldn't do, because the way the governance structure is set up is his call. So I want to be very clear that in this governance structure, it is his call to do that, and I can't tell you. You'd have to ask the city manager.
But do you think enough is being done from what you know by other people, i.e. the city manager and others on the council, to try and?
I'd say no. I don't think enough is being done, because I'd like this to be a done deal. My ideal scenario is the chief of police is on his way to Seattle and changes his mind and says, look, you guys have said you want me here. It's clear that I'm your priority. You're going to be consistent with public safety going forward. Okay, this is where I want to retire. I want to spend my next 3 years in Sacramento. I'm good. If that anything short of that means we haven't done enough. This is a guy, and he's been here his whole career. He's been here for nearly 30 years, or I don't know, Amy, how long has he been here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 30 years. I mean, this is a person that's been committed to Sacramento. He's got 2 or 3 years left before he retires. I'd want to be as proactive as I can. Again, if we're going to create Sacramento to be a world-class city, you need a police chief who's world-class. This guy is being sought from all over the country, not just in Seattle, but other places around the country. But I still believe at the end of the day, he'd rather be here in Sacramento. And I think from my vantage point, from councils, from city managers, we should do everything we can to keep him here.
In the event that the chief does leave, has there been any talk of successors?
Are you with the media?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's for a media.
Can you give us an update on the status of your communications with FEMA regarding the Natomas permitting issue?
Yeah, we had a good conversation with them a few weeks ago, and I think here's where we are. The ball's in FEMA's court right now. We have done everything that we said we were going to do to be compliant. There were 2 issues that FEMA had a couple more questions from the city. I believe we got them that information, so I think anytime we'll hear from them and hopefully be in compliance and really be able to put this behind us. Again, this is a public safety issue as well.
In the course of that time, have you had a chance to talk with staff about how the city's going to prioritize what comes down the road from FEMA and the absence of communication with them so far? Or?
No, I think we're in good standing. We're both walking side by side to completing this whole process. You know, at first there was a 30 to 60 day period where we had to turn around kind of our action plan and what we wanted to do to be in compliance. We did that in a timely manner. We've heard from FEMA. I've met with the top folks, and they said we feel very good where we are. We just have a couple more questions in terms of details, and then after that, I think we'll be in good stead.
I understand Phil Drizzo's doing some pro bono work for you. Can you talk a little bit about what he's doing for your office?
Yeah, I mean, Phil is somebody I've known for many years, and you know, I'm going to continue to reassess, you know, what I'm doing effectively, what can we do for the city, and how we improve upon it. And I felt one area that I can improve upon is have a labor liaison. Early on, when I first got elected, it was Chris Young, who ended up going back to Washington, D.C., and then we've been kind of filling the labor liaison by committee. And I feel to get the continuity and consistency and build the trust and understand what labor's priorities are and issues that are important and vice versa, I felt having a labor liaison would be very important to do that.
And Phil at a time was running the campaign for the Save Sacramento group, I believe. I mean,
Yeah.
That's an interesting dynamic.
Politics, Ryan, that's all I can tell you. Politics is politics.
Is that just Sacramento and, you know?
I think it's politics in general. I think it happens in Sacramento, it happens, you know, elsewhere. I think what Phil would say is, you know, he was hired to fight the original proposal, but I believe that he believes what we brought forward is the right proposal to move the city forward, and felt that he could add value in connecting my office with the different unions in Sacramento. And I think the one thing that I've learned, you hear a lot about labor as one voice. There's 7 or 8 different agendas from labor, so it can't just be talking to one labor head. We've got to do an effective job of having a conversation with all the representative groups in their respective unions and not just one person. And I think in the past, that's probably where I made a mistake. We just talked to one person and not reached out to the different unions and labor affiliates.
All right, last question.
Is there a reason why your office hasn't written out the draft at this point in complete sentences?
Yeah, I think ultimately, whatever language has to come forward is gonna come out of the city attorney's office.
Okay.
So what we felt we could do is lay out a concept, have some language in there in terms of what we were thinking, and then ultimately for it to go on the ballot, and I think for council to feel very good about, it would have to come out of the city attorney's office, so that was why we did not do that.
All right.
Mayor, city council tonight is supposed to take up the extension on pot dispensaries and so forth. Any comments on that? Let's hear your feelings.
Yeah, from what I hear, Law and Ledge, which is a subsection of council, they're recommending that we keep the moratorium in place for a year. I don't know the reasons why, I'll hear those tonight. It always discourages me a little bit when you punt things that far down the road, like what difference is a year gonna make? But again, I don't know, I'm not privy to what they were thinking, so tonight at council, I'll get a chance to hear what those reasons are.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.